Okay, moving on to Dodger. Good old Dodger. Mike, what will we do without you? Gets his questions in early because he's hoping I'll forget. No one can forget you, Mike. Does he participate a lot on A Moment of Service?
Not often, but we do please hold. I post please hold, and within a week or two, I get a question of, hey, here's a question for next time. It's like, that's pretty optimistic that there's going to be a next time.
Why don't you wait until closer to the first Thursday in the month, and see if we're all still here.
Don't get me wrong. I appreciate having at least one question in the kitty when I go, oh yeah, I got to start reminding people to ask questions.
That's true.
But
that's true.
It's him and Michael R. are usually the ones that you get him in early, get him in often.
Yeah. Anyway, Messrs. Manly Matt and Ron Essler, question for Dave. You discussed sales numbers for Cerebus last month, mentioning that issues 1 to 5 all had a print run of 2,000 copies. With the qualifier of the conversation that I had with Harry Kremer, where he said, don't you remember with issue number 2, they overprinted by whatever they overprinted by, and you sold me the excess? Remember? And he was very emphatic about it. So it was obviously something that he definitely remembered, and I tend to take that as gospel. If someone's that emphatic about their memory, usually it's not a false memory. I loved you reading the freebie list in a past episode. Thanks for that, by the way. Oh, no problem. It was one of those. As soon as I had the question, it's like, well, you know where the freebie list is, Dave. It's in the red binder, and it's in the top drawer of the two-drawer filing cabinet. Go and get the damn thing, and let's cut to the chase on it. But I'm not asking you to do the same thing for the print run number, which is unfortunate because I've got the print run numbers. Instead, can you please talk about the comic era crash of the 1990s when you stopped printing the distribution numbers next to the note from the president letter? How bad did it get? Did sales drop off a cliff? And did you fare better than other creators? In order, when I was talking to Kevin Eastman promoting the T8 Kickstarter and the auction of his pages, Kevin Eastman Collection, through HA.com, he talked about the black and white bust, which definitely happened, and that was one of those. How bad did it get? It got worse for the people who were doing adjective, collective noun books, knockoffs of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, where they would ship 50,000 copies, and then by issue 3, they weren't getting enough orders to keep going. So that was a disaster for those people. Did sales drop off a cliff? Yes, again, for those people. Did you fare better than other creators? Yes. In terms of, I didn't experience the bounce that everybody was getting because Cerebus was a pretty entrenched commodity by the early 1990s. So when black and white comics, the black and white boom was going on, sales didn't really go up that much on Cerebus because the stores knew how many Cerebus they could sell. And they weren't suddenly going to buy twice twice as many Cerebus just because black and white comics are hot. It's no, I might have to do that with these titles over here because I don't know what they're doing because they're at issue 1 or they're at issue 3. But Cerebus is at issue 95, 96, around there, and I pretty much got Cerebus figured out. Then it was a drop in sales because it wasn't just the black and white publishers that went through boom and bust. A lot of the stores that banked on the black and white boom and bust, they went out of business because they just got overextended in that area, and consequently, a store that would have been selling 10 or 15 copies of Cerebus every month, Swords of Cerebus, volumes repeatedly, suddenly they weren't there. And if they're not there, sometimes the neighboring stores will pick up the slack, but usually that guy's customers were that guy's customers. One of those weird realities in the direct market, that when a store goes away for some reason, a good 90% of their customers go away. They don't just find a new place to buy comics. Then I think Mike edging back in the other direction. The highly coordinated, super secret, obsessively detailed fan list of Cerebus print run issues is blank for issues 6 to 45, 110 to 114, 125 to 201. The highest print run in this list is issue 90 at 33,000 copies, and Cerebus number 0 at 50,000 copies. Do you know the list that he's talking about? Is this something that is widely known among the Cerebus aficionados?
It might be something Margaret had cobbled together. It might be something that Philip Fry put up on the Cerebus wiki. I mean, it's a question that pops up every now and then of, hey, what were the circulation numbers for the entire run? And it's like, what's printed and known is what's printed and known, and the issues that don't have the numbers, it's, anybody's guess. Except for Dave, who has the list, but, it's just funny to me that, you have the list, and it's the thing that everybody goes, oh, if we get the list, it's like, well, okay, we can get the list, but it's because people are trying to figure out, what's the rarest issue type thing, and it's like, well, the early ones are, it only went up until it started to come down.
Right. And I was just funning you as Cerebus fans. I'm sitting here with Denny's invoice books 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 from the 8.5 by 11 and smaller Cerebus archive, drawer number 1. And invoice book number 1 goes from November 13th, 1978 to May 30th, 1979. And what I'm thinking I'm going to do is I'm going to read some of it. You tell me when this gets to be. Even Cerebus fans don't want to hear Dave Sim reading the phone book because this is pretty close to that. So this is Cerebus number 6. The first invoice is Bill Suling, Seagate Distributors, November 13th, 1978, and it's for 1,000 copies of Cerebus number 6. And the back cover ad that Phil took back then, he was paying $100 for that, for the back cover of Cerebus number 6. So the 1,000 copies, that tells us that Seagate definitely didn't boost their order at issue number 6 when I got the list of Mike Friedrich's Star Reach distributors and contacted them and drummed up some more business. Same thing with Now Now and Then books, which is the next page. Cerebus number 6, 500 copies. Bud Plant was new, I'm pretty sure, with Cerebus number 6, and he took 500 copies. Comic art distributors, Bill Morse. And when I got to that page, I went, I do not remember a distributor called Comic Art Distributors, and I don't remember Bill Morse, but evidently they were at 319 6th Avenue in New York, and he took 350 copies. So there you go. There's a boost in the circulation. Another big surprise, Last Gasp, Ron Turner, the same Last Gasp underground publisher, was also a distributor at 280 Bryant in San Francisco, California, and Last Gasp took 300 copies of Cerebus number 6. Jim Friel, who was there from the beginning, 130 East Kilbourne in Lansing, Michigan. And there's a note here, picked up in Toronto. So we didn't ship Cerebus number 6 to Jim Friel. He went, I'm going to be in Toronto. Can you leave it with, you probably would have left it with the people at Silver Snail. And 500 copies of Cerebus number 6, holding steady again from issue number 1. Another surprise, Wells News. Steve Bobroff, it looks like, or Stan Bobroff. 2400 North High Street, Columbus, Ohio. And I'm going, I didn't know that Columbus, Ohio entered the Cerebus storyline at issue number 6. Anyway, Wells News took 250 copies of Cerebus number 6. Big Rapids distribution in Madison, Wisconsin took 200 copies of Cerebus number 6. Real World distribution out in Vancouver, Ron Norton, who was with us pretty much all the way along from there, started buying with number 6, taking 100 copies. Gary O'Gorman, and I'm going, there's another name. If JDG was playing tricks on me again, and saying who was the important figure in Cerebus' background named Gary O'Gorman in Detroit, Michigan, I would have said, you got me. Was this a distributor? It doesn't have a distribution name. Just Gary O'Gorman, 230 Adair Street, Detroit, Michigan. And he took 100 copies of Cerebus number 6. And that takes us through all of the number 6s. Is that enough?
Well, everybody's got to break out their calculators and start adding up those numbers.
That's what I'm thinking. You should probably have a warning before you post this going, grab a piece of paper and a pen because we got some numbers you're going to want to write down.
I mean, I was tallying in my head and I'm going, it was what, 4,000 copies? Or just about?
It was up there. It was a good jump. It was one of those with issue number 5. Okay, we're able to keep going barely, but keeping going is keeping going early on with the business. And then suddenly it was, this is a little extra money, more extra money than we usually have around here. Inexplicable one on the next page. Now and Then Books, November 1978. 500 Cerebus number 4 and 500 Cerebus number 5. Why would he be getting billed for those in November 1978? They would have come out before that, which is why I wish that Benny had been using invoice books before issue number 6. Did he not pay for number 4 or number 5, or did he not accept delivery of number 4 and number 5? Curious minds would like to know.
I mean, I doubt there was a second printing.
No, there wouldn't have been a second printing. Did we overprint? Would be an interesting question, but I don't think so on that either, because it's like no, the non-returnable was part of it, and the other part was being able to sell the entire print run as soon as it was published, so that we knew exactly how much money we were getting in and when we were getting it in. So yeah, mystery on that one.
So wait, Harry said there was an overrun on which issue?
2.
2. Well, there goes that theory.
Yeah, I admire your enthusiasm on that one, Sherlock. But yeah, because it was definitely, when he was telling me about it, it was just that issue, which again shores up the thesis that the print run was the print run was the print run. We didn't mess around with that, because it did stand out for Harry that, okay, I ordered 500 Cerebus number 1. I'm pretty happy with that. I could probably be argued into buying more copies of number 1 if they were available, but I definitely understand they're not available. And suddenly, number 2, there were excess copies, and when he had the opportunity, he did buy more. But it was the print run is the print run is the print run. The next invoice is Victoria Bolorama. Here in Kitchener, I don't think Victoria Bolorama still exists over on 280 Victoria Street South. But this is an example of, I was doing Cerebus, but I was also still doing commercial work, because this was an ad original that I did evidently for Victoria Bolorama, where Denny drummed up some business, and they paid $60 for the ad original, which says in brackets on loan, and another ad original. I think that was, I wanted the original artwork, and they wanted the original artwork, and it was, okay, you can have the original artwork for whatever X amount of time, and then I get it back. And they settled for that at $60. I don't even remember doing an ad for Victoria Bolorama. So it'd be interesting if somebody was a really OCD pre-Cerebus or during the early days of Cerebus fan and wanted to go through the Kitchener-Waterloo Records microfiche files at the library around December 1978. So is there a Victoria Bolorama ad that looks like Dave did it? So I think what I'm going to do is, here's the deal, is there's 5, as I say, 5 of these invoice books. Invoice book number 2 goes from May 30th, 1979 to June 5th, 1980. just going to the first page. First page is Cerebus number 10, and at that point, this is May 30th, 1979, Seagate Distributors has gone up in their orders. Instead of taking 1,000, they're taking 1,500, and not only taking the back cover 4-color ad, but the inside back cover ad, which was the Cerebus hologram. So, okay, I say that I'm not going to go through this, and I accidentally flipped to page 3, which is Bud Plant. Bud Plant, 500 copies of Cerebus number 10, $200. And then he's written at the bottom, just a note, I received several letters the last month from California. No one seems to be able to find Cerebus out there. Could you look into this rather than I having to send these people to someone? Thanks. And it's like, well, that's chutzpah on Denny's side. It's only 500 copies of a comic book. It's not Bud Plant's job to go out and find customers. The customers are going to have to find Bud Plant stores and go, hey, can you get me this weird aardvark comic book called Cerebus? So that's invoice book number 2, number 3, July 1980 to October 1981. First page, Seagate Distributors. This, I think, would have been the exclusive time period when we were selling exclusively to Seagate Distributors, and they were taking 6,000 Cerebus number 18. Yes, just looking through the pages, I think we had an exception for Now and Then books, but everything else is just the ad. So there you go. At the time that we went exclusive with Seagate Distributors, they were taking 6,000 of each issue. And that lasted until the early 20s sometime, 24, 23. That we'll be able to look that up. And then invoice book number 4 goes from October 1981 to January 1982. And invoice book number 5, last one, and Denny didn't write on the front what the dates were. It goes to May 10th, 1982, from January 13th, 1982. So that shows that we were making pretty good bucks back then, and actually shipping a lot of books to a lot of people once we stopped going exclusive with Seagate Distributors, because we were using up a whole invoice book between January and May of the same year. So things were definitely looking up. My proposal is going to be, does anybody want to chip in and get Rolly to scan all of these invoice books? One possibility is he could scan all of the invoice books, or he could just write down the numbers. Anytime it says this is how many copies of this issue, he could just write down, okay, this is the name of the distributor, this is the issue number, this is how many there were. I don't know how long it would take him to do that. I'm guessing 2 hours, maybe 3 hours, $15 an hour. Who's up for $45 an hour for filling in the blanks on the highly coordinated, super secret, obsessively detailed fan list of Cerebus print run issues, and filling in the blanks for, I think we're looking at issues 6 to 38. So that would be a good chunk of them off the back end.
I will throw it out to the mob, and we'll see who wants to throw money at us.
There you go. We'll throw it at the wall and see if it sticks.
I mean, I can't imagine that there's... I can't imagine that everyone's going to be, oh, no, there's no way that we're going to be willing to pay that kind of money, and I'm going to be like, you guys spend more on coffee a month. Come on.
You're going to have to get manlier and manlier on that, I think. It's like, come on, get a grip, people. It's coffee money. It's 2023.
Well, thinking about your cash flow problem one time, it dawned on me that if I could get everyone on the planet to give you a penny, that would be $80 million.
Can you get on that?
Well,
that would be really, really handy. That would be...
you know, I was wondering, like, you know, you just get everybody on the planet. There's about 8 billion people. That's, $80 million. And I'm going, on the one hand, it seems like it just, that should be a no-brainer. We could totally do that. And on the other hand, it's like, there's no way I'd be able to get everybody to have just a penny. It'd be, people going, here's $50. It's like, yeah, okay, but now we got to get the next guy to, step up. And at some point, it's going to be the people that are living on pennies a day going, that's like a week's worth of food. No, you can't have the money.
Right. I mean, it's a study in contrast. Today I ran into Brian, a guy that I know who works at City Hall, and no, I didn't hurt him. And the last time that I had seen Brian was the third week in March 2020 at the Shoppers Drug Mart across the street from City Hall. And I said, hey, what's up? And he's going, they're closing City Hall. And it's like, that's when I knew, okay, we are way, way over in Alice in Wonderland territory now. They're closing City Hall. Anyway, he was asking me today, so what's up with you? What have you been doing? And since I've been spending a good chunk of the day, mentally anyway, on the bifold postcards and the 3 Can You Help postcards and the Raymark editions, I said to him, I can show you exactly what I've been up to, and it's taken me a long time to get my 50-year career down to one bifold postcard. So I'll tell you what's your full name? Because I only know him as Brian, and gave me his full name, and I said where you work and which floor you work on, and he's on the 6th floor. And it's okay. I will drop off something for you. And I actually wrote a postcard to him saying, "Can you put together a chain email for everybody who works at City Hall? I mean, I know there's your department, but you connect with other people in other departments. Here's this guy from Kitchener, who's Guinness World Book of Records. Can we get some donations?" It's the same sort of idea. Donations at cerebusdownloads.com. The Cerebus Book Club allows you to donate $1 a month. Our biggest, most generous patron at cerebusdownloads.com in the Cerebus Book Club is Eddie the Successor. Is actually is in for $50 a month, which is great, but that's high end kind of stuff. I'm thinking these are city officials. Everybody's getting a lot more money working at the city than working at non-government jobs. Can you help some of us that don't have city jobs and just scan your postcards? I gave them a bunch of them that say, hope you can help Dave Sim, and write a little note underneath it and email it to everybody who's on your email list at City Hall, and just say, can you help this guy? And we'll see what happens. because I just dropped off the package. I thought it was pre-COVID days where I'm just going to walk in, go over the elevators, punch 6, go up there, and then give it to the 6th floor receptionist. No, all of City Hall is closed off. You can only get into the lobby, and you have to go through somebody. So I went over to the guy's desk and went, I was just going to go up to the 6th floor and give this to Brian, and I gave his whole name. And, holding up the Raymark edition of the last day and the postcard packages. And he goes, you can't go up in the elevator anymore unless you work at City Hall. It's like, okay, can you see that Brian gets this? He said, yes, he would do that. So I think that's one of those side effects of the safe injection site, safe in quotation marks, being diagonal to City Hall. And it's one of those, well, okay, you thought that this was harm reduction, and unfortunately you ended up with votes to have it diagonal from City Hall, and they're getting some fun people coming in on a regular basis, and it's like, okay, well, harm reduction doesn't work. What you're talking about is harm exacerbation. I say this as a cautionary note because this is spread all the way across Canada. Try and stop it in your community in the United States because it's on its way. This is a major blue state thing. Yes, we're gonna reduce harm by giving the junkies a clubhouse, and when that doesn't work, and you suddenly have 3 times as many opioid overdoses and deaths. Now they're going safe supply. It's like, okay, these are dirty drugs, so we're going to give them pharmaceutical grade drugs, and as many as they want. And it's like, if you really think that's going to work, and I will show you over to the Brooklyn Bridge here, which I own personally, and I will sell you for $125 cash.
Right.
So there you go. That's. I think we covered that. Did we cover that?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I don't think. Like I said, I'm pretty sure that somebody's going to say, "Oh yeah, I'll kick in for this."
Well, it would be nice. I'm beating the bushes these days. Is all I'm doing. I'm trying to be a dutiful Johnny Appleseed with my postcards and my bifold postcard. You got them all printed. Anybody that you can think of, or anybody that you read about in the newspaper, you go, they sound like they have way too much money. What the heck? Let's send them this and see if they're interested in helping out. Like the thing with rich people, if they look rich, like they have a very rich lifestyle, sometimes they're just living the way that the average person is, where they bought too much house, and yes, they're making a lot of money. One of the ones was a Waterloo Region executive, one of the top executives I was reading about in the newspaper, and he's pulling down like $312,000 a year, Canadian dollars, but still $312,000 a year. And it's like, okay, a big chunk of that is going in taxes. And then, okay, did he buy too much house? Like, is he trying to impress people with how rich he is? What kind of a car does he drive? Does he own a cottage? Is it a really good cottage? Is it on one of the preferred sites in Georgian Bay? You don't need too many of those things as a rich person before you're spending at capacity, and you find yourself in Biggie Smalls, more money, more problems. But we will revisit this subject repeatedly. And anything that you can do, if you're within the sound of my voice and you're good for $1 a month or $5 a month, Cerebus Downloads, Cerebus Book Club is set up for that. You just go, here's how much I want to give. Here's my financial details and email address to verify that this is me, and you're off to the races.